Zelensky arrived in Washington with 7 European leaders by his side. How significant was this united front for strengthening Ukraine's position in negotiations with Trump and Putin?
Greetings to you, Hala, greetings to guests, and greetings to all audience. You know, Hala, actually, as for me, it was fantastic step from European countries, from leaders of them, and the President of European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, the General Secretary of NATO, that actually Marco Rutte, that decided to be together with Zelensky. It was a clear message to whole world that Europe stand behind the Ukraine, that Ukraine is not alone. And understanding the importance of this meeting, all those leaders, that each of them have their own agenda, each of them has their own plans, changed them and said that, oh, now priority for us to be with Ukraine, priority to be with President Zelensky. We don't want to see the second 28th of February of this year, that scandal that happened in the Oval Office of White House about quarrel between President Zelensky on one side and President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance on the other side. So each of the European leaders made direct and clear statement that we with Ukraine, and the position of Ukraine is not the position of one country situated in the central part of the European continent. It's actually a position of Europe, European Union plus the United Kingdom. So it's very important, and its influence, as for me, for course of yesterday's talks. Thank you, Hala.
Mr. Fursley, welcome to Q News. Now, European leaders rushed to Washington to counter Trump's potential lenience towards an agreement with Russia that entails, of course, land concessions and pushing for a ceasefire before a peace agreement. How successful were they in steering Trump's stance?
Delighted to join you today.
It was a pleasure.
The short answer is not very successful. But these things, what we're seeing on television, on Fox News or CNN, etc., it's very choreographed. So, the Russians and the Ukrainians, they love theater and they love, classical dance. And it's like a classical dance choreography where the position of the dancer on stage is agreed to in advance.
Who are the dancers? European leaders?
The whole thing is very choreographed.
Okay.
So I think choreographed by who? Choreographed
Trump?
by first Trump. First Trump. So he's the main. So there's one person in the driver's seat here. It is Trump, and to a lesser extent, Putin. And I think some Europeans are part of the choreography. What I mean is people like Mark Rutte at NATO headquarters in Brussels and Keir Starmer in London, probably they are prepared to pull the rug under the feet of Ukraine, and they are prepared to pull the plug on Ukraine.
With Macron with them, I guess, Mr. Fursley, with President
verbally,
Emmanuel Macron joining them.
Verbally, if you listen to Mark Rutte or Keir Starmer, they are exactly on the same line as Emmanuel Macron in Paris and as Friedrich Merz in Berlin and Ursula von der Leyen in Brussels. I think they're lying. I think in reality, the Brits and NATO leadership are much closer to the American position, which is quite frankly, like I said, pulling the plug on Ukraine. I think that only the French, only the French government, not the people, but only the French government and the German government, and to a lesser extent, the EU Commission, led by Ursula von der Leyen, only them are fully behind Ukraine at this stage. And this is a late stage. When I'm saying it's a late stage, it's the war is coming to an end anyway. And the general terms of the end of the war will be based on what Russia wants. Not everything which Russia wants, but most of the things which Russia always wanted, they will get. And so most of the things which Ukraine and the EU Commission wanted when the war started, they will not get. So I think this is the end game, and the end game is coming soon. Now, will the end game come in 2 weeks precisely, as President Trump wants, or will it come in 2 months? No one knows. But coming very close to the end game.
Yes. Mr. Uz, now President Donald Trump has floated the idea of peace without a ceasefire, something that alarms Kiev and Europe, of course, as well. How does Ukraine view negotiations while the war continues?
Of course, Ukraine agree with Friedrich Merz, the Chancellor of Germany, who said that it should be ceasefire because it's hard to have a talks when you have a constant war. Remind the talks in Istanbul at the beginning of full-scale war. It happened at the same moment when Russians committed crimes during the war in Bucha. And when whole world see what happened in Bucha, the small Kiev suburb situated not far away from place where I'm now sitting, of course, everyone said how we can talk about peace with Russia after those enormous quantity of murdering civilians, of raping Ukrainian girls, and some other things, stolen Ukrainian children. Of course, after that, Ukraine was not ready to any talk because so many crimes was committed during period of that talks. If now there will be no ceasefire, it means that crimes will be committed during this period. Even last 2 days, Russia, after end of Alaska talks, they returned to murdering civilians. They sent rockets to our big cities like Kharkov, like Zaporizhia, like today's morning it was actually Kropivnitsky. So it means enormous quantity of crimes. And every time when these crimes committed, Ukrainian society say that, oh no, we won't punish Russia for that new crimes. We won't punish them for previous crimes, and we have more and more. And now say that, guys, during this period of constantly committed crimes by Russia, you should talk with them about peace deal. Ukrainian people not ready, and Ukrainian people will not understand President Zelensky if he will discuss this peace, having such enormous quantity of crimes committed by Russians. So that's why we will see, of course. But idea of peace talk without ceasefire is, for me, it's a bad idea because a lack of ceasefire led to the background for non having a result of this peace talks because we receive more and more reason for actually revenge for Russia. Thank you, Hala.